Have you ever walked into a room, noticed someone was in a bad mood, and bam, you instantly feel this heavy psychological weight pressing down right on your chest? You look around, everyone else seems completely fine, but you suddenly feel utterly responsible for how that person is doing. It's this invisible burden, right? A quiet pressure that kind of dictates how you move, speak, and act. Well, welcome to this explainer. Today, we are unpacking the fascinating psychology behind that exact feeling. We're going to explore a deeply relatable piece of psychological insight that breaks down exactly why you feel so accountable for everyone else's happiness, and honestly, more importantly, where that instinct actually comes from. I want you to think about the last time someone in the same room as you was just in a terrible mood. Maybe it was a partner sighing heavily at the kitchen counter, or a coworker who looked visibly stressed out during a meeting, or even just a friend who suddenly went quiet. Did your stomach drop? Did your mind immediately start racing to figure out how to fix it? I mean, do you feel guilty when others are upset? It's a feeling you probably know way too well. It's that sudden, sharp pang of responsibility where you instinctively think, oh no, what did I do? How can I fix this? How can I get them back to baseline? And I just want to validate that feeling right now. It is incredibly exhausting to instinctively carry the emotional climate of an entire room. But as the source material reveals, this immediate guilty reaction, it is not what you think it is. Okay, let's dive into this because we really need to shatter a massive misconception right out of the gate. We tell ourselves that we feel this guilt because we're simply good, caring people. And let's be real, society heavily rewards this. People are constantly telling you that you're just so kind, so considerate, so accommodating. You're the glue holding everything together. But the psychology we're looking at pushes back really hard on that narrative. The reality is you aren't just nice. When that guilt kicks in simply because someone else is having a bad day, it's not just a byproduct of your good nature. There's a deeply rooted mechanism at play here, a psychological adaptation that goes way, way beyond basic politeness or having a sweet disposition. So let's break down the actual reality behind this guilt. Like we said, it's not just an innate personality trait you were born with. Actually, you're repeating the past. And more importantly, you're subconsciously seeking safety. This intense, almost reflexive need to manage the happiness of everyone around you is a repetition of something much older. Somewhere along the line in your past, you learned that an unpredictable, emotional environment is a dangerous environment. So when you feel that desperate urge to smooth things over today, your brain isn't just trying to be polite. It's actively trying to secure your environment so you can feel safe. You're basically trying to control the uncontrollable so you don't get caught in the crossfire of someone else's emotional storm. To truly wrap our heads around this, we need to look at a core clinical concept, emotional role reversal. This is defined as an early developmental dynamic where managing others becomes your only path to safety. Now think about what that actually means for a young, developing mind. During your formative years, the roles were completely flipped. Instead of the adults or caregivers managing their own emotions to create a stable, safe space for you to just, be a kid, their emotions were volatile, unmanaged, or unpredictable. And you, as a child, had to step up. You had to become the emotional anchor. You literally learned to read the room before you even knew how to read a book, anticipating shifting moods and doing absolutely whatever it took to soothe the adults around you. Your only path to safety. Just let that sink in for a second. When you're young, your entire survival depends 100% on the stability of your caregivers. You don't exactly have a backup plan. If they're emotionally unstable, your world is fundamentally unsafe. So your people-pleasing today is actually a deeply ingrained survival tactic born from that exact time. Managing their emotions wasn't just a chore or a nice thing to do to help out around the house. It was the absolute only way you knew how to bring equilibrium back to your world so you could finally breathe easily. Your young brain hardwired a very specific, unbreakable connection. If they are okay, then I am safe. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly how that survival tactic becomes a lifelong pattern. This childhood dynamic forms a loop that gets hardwired right into your nervous system. First, others are upset. That's the trigger. It sets off your internal alarm bells. Next, you manage their emotions. You immediately step in, you soothe, you fix, you tiptoe around the issue, or maybe you crack a joke to break the tension. And finally, step 3, you feel safe. The tension breaks and your nervous system finally settles down. This loop was etched into you, and even now, as an adult who is completely independent and no longer trapped in that childhood environment, your brain still follows this exact roadmap. When someone around you is upset today, it trips that same ancient alarm, and you immediately jump to managing their emotions, just to get that fleeting feeling of safety. But here's the catch. Living this way creates a massive divide between what's happening inside you and what the rest of the world actually sees. On the inside, your internal reality is defined by endless emotional caretaking. You're constantly absorbing the pain, the stress, and the frustration of everyone around you. It's incredibly heavy, and honestly, it's exhausting. But on the outside, what do people see? They see the external projection, the strong person mask. Because you are so incredibly skilled at managing emotional chaos, people look at you and think you have it all completely figured out. They come to you with their problems, they lean on you for support. It's this profound paradox. The very mechanism that is draining you internally is the exact same mask that makes you look invincible to the outside world. Now, as we're unpacking all this heavy stuff, I want you to really hear me on this one. Your deep empathy is a gift. It truly is. The ability you've developed to read microexpressions, to sense the subtle emotional shifts in a room the second you walk through the door, to intuitively know what someone needs before they even open their mouth, that requires an incredibly high level of emotional intelligence. The insights we are exploring in this explainer aren't meant to tell you to stop caring or to suggest that your empathy is somehow a flaw. Far from it. It's a beautiful, rare trait. You have an immense, wonderful capacity to understand and deeply connect with other human beings. So the crucial point is understanding exactly where the boundary lies. The gift is your deep empathy, absolutely. But the curse? The curse is absorbing other people's pain. Think of it like this. Empathy is seeing someone in a hole, throwing down a ladder, and understanding exactly how dark it is down there. Absorbing their pain is jumping into the hole with them, throwing away the ladder, and forgetting how to get yourself out. The moment you cross the line from simply understanding someone's emotions to taking absolute responsibility for fixing those emotions, that beautiful gift flips into a really heavy curse. You end up losing your own emotional center in the futile process of trying to regulate theirs. Which brings us to a really profound realization from the source text. You are carrying emotional weight that isn't even yours. I want you to think about your own exhaustion right now. If your shoulders are tensed, if your mind is constantly racing at night, if you feel perpetually burned out, ask yourself, how much of the weight you're currently carrying actually belongs to you? The psychology demands that we confront this reality. You are acting as an emotional sponge, soaking up the anxieties, the unspoken frustrations, and the unhealed wounds of the people around you. No wonder you're completely exhausted. You're carrying a heavy load you were literally never meant to bear. We've walked through the hidden origins of the Skillt, that exhausting childhood loop of emotional role reversal, and the reality behind that strong person mask. You now understand that your intense need to manage everyone's happiness is just an echo of the past, a misplaced search for safety that turns your greatest gift into a curse. So I want to leave you with one final thought to chew on. Are you ready to put their weight down? It's not going to happen overnight, but recognizing that this isn't your burden to carry is the first major step. You don't have to be accountable for everyone else anymore. Take a deep breath, leave that extra weight behind, and focus on reclaiming your own space.